Madam President,
Majority Leader is recognized.
now almost 20 years to the day that U.S. military operations began in Iraq, the United States Senate begins the process of repealing the Iraq AUMFs, the ones of 2002 and 1991, putting the final remnants of those conflicts squarely behind us. The United States, the nation of Iraq, and the entire world have changed dramatically since 2002, and it's time the laws on the books catch up with these changes. The Iraq War has itself been long over. This AUMF has outlived its purpose and we can no longer justify keeping it in effect. While the Iraq War was the cause of so much bitterness in the past, I'm glad that repealing these AUMFs has been a genuinely bipartisan effort. I expect we'll have a number of amendment votes on the floor once this amendment is before us, and I want to thank Senators Kaine and Young, Chairman Menendez, Ranking Member Risch, and all of the Senate Foreign Relations Committee and the co-sponsors of this legislation. Again, this is a bipartisan process. Both parties in this chamber have voiced support for repeal. President Biden has voiced support for repealing this AUMF. And in June of 2021, our House colleagues voted 268 to 161 to repeal, with 49 Republicans in support. I hope this year, on the 20th anniversary of the start of the Iraq War, both chambers will finally speak in one voice and send an AUMF repeal to the President's desk. Americans are tired of endless wars in the Middle East. Many Americans have come of age without even remembering the early years of the Iraq War. Every year we leave these AUMFs on the books is another year that a future administration can abuse them, and Congress, the rightful dispenser of war powers, cannot allow this to continue. I want to make this clear. Repealing this AUMF will in any way not hinder our national defense, nor will it hurt the efforts of our troops deployed overseas. In fact, the repeal is an important step for strengthening our relationship with Iraq. So once again, thank you to all my colleagues for their good work on this resolution, and I urge everyone on both sides to vote yes on cloture on the motion to proceed in a few hours. On the Clark nomination, today, Madam President, today the Senate will confirm a highly qualified judicial nominee from New York who I was very proud to recommend, Jessica Clark, to serve as a U.S. District Judge for the Southern District of New York. Ms. Clark had all the opportunities in the world to enter private practice in New York, but instead she chose the path of public service. She's worked in the Department of Justice's Civil Rights Division and the New York Attorney General's Civil Rights Bureau. She's a great civil rights lawyer, and I'm certain she will make an excellent member of the federal bench. It would have been difficult to imagine someone like Ms. Clark being nominated to the federal bench a generation ago, but because of her talent and her dedication to the rule of law, she's rightfully taking her place on the bench today. Our courts will be better for it, and I look forward to supporting her confirmation and urge my colleagues to vote in her favor. Now on insulin. The exponential spike in the cost of insulin is one of the most unjust and widespread healthcare bad trends in the past few decades. This drug, discovered a century ago and which is exceedingly cheap to produce, has seen its price surge in recent years, sometimes far beyond $300 for a month's supply. That's cruel, it's unjust, it causes anguish for so many, but it is also, for so many, a reality. Senate Democrats took a major step towards basic fairness last year by capping the cost of insulin for people on Medicare by $35 a month. Since Democrats took action, Big Pharma has taken note. Eli Lilly announced a few weeks ago that they too will be capping the cost of insulin for patients at $35 a month, as well as dramatically dropping the overall price. And just this week, Novo Nordisk also decided to drop their price in a similar manner. So, Madam President, today I call on the third big drug maker of insulin, Sanofi, to end their practice of keeping insulin prices at sky-high levels so that Americans can afford to pay for diabetes treatment without going broke. I will be sending Sanofi a letter soon expressing my desire, an American strong desire, for them to drop the price of insulin. Lowering insulin costs for all patients is the right thing to do, and I hope Sanofi makes the correct decision to lower their prices very soon, just like Eli Lilly and Novo Nordisk have done. All of us know somebody with diabetes. Put yourselves in their shoes and imagine the sheer agony of struggling to afford this basic drug, just so you can live a decent and healthy life, so you don't have to worry about going blind or maybe having a leg amputated, just so you can live at all. No Americans should have to go through that ever, ever, but too many do. In the Senate, I hope both parties can build on the work last year to cap patient insulin costs at $35 a month for everyone. We did it for Medicare, we can do it for everyone else, and we hope we can get that done on a bipartisan basis. Lowering insulin prices isn't a Democratic issue or a Republican issue. It's purely American, and I hope we can get something done. But today, the most immediate thing that can happen is for Sanofi to listen to the voice of millions of Americans and make the right choice to lower the price they charge for insulin for all patients. Now on energy. Yesterday, Speaker McCarthy and House Republicans rolled out a bipartisan, unserious, and dead-on-arrival so-called energy package they laughably labeled as H.R. 1. It's not difficult to see that the Republican proposal is nothing more than a wish list for big oil, masquerading as an energy package. No serious energy package would gut important environmental safeguards on fossil fuel projects, while leaving out necessary permitting reforms needed to bring transmission and clean energy projects online. Rather than prepare for the future, Republicans' big oil wish list would lock America into expensive, erratic, and dirty energy sources. The Republican so-called energy plan would set us back decades in our transition to clean, affordable energy. It shows the influence that big oil has on the Republican House caucus, because it seems that this package was almost written by big oil. So let me be clear. The House Republicans' so-called energy bill is dead on arrival in the Senate. Dead on arrival. And I would say to my colleagues, we can still get something done. Fortunately, many Democrats and Republicans understand that we need bipartisanship in order to produce a real energy package. As we speak, there are talks happening in good faith about the possibilities of a permitting deal. I strongly, strongly support both sides working together to arrive at a real energy bipartisan package, not the partisan wish lists Republicans have introduced. Any genuine energy package must include a permitting deal that will ease America's transition to clean energy while also ensuring that clean energy is reliable, accessible, and most importantly, affordable. Transmission is vital to getting clean energy from where it's produced to where people live. But the Republicans' H.R. 1 proposal completely ignores this issue, to its detriment and its demise. Until Republicans recognize that permitting reform is an essential step toward laying the foundation for a clean energy future, no proposal or package they put forward will be taken seriously. Finally, on drones, to air defense, and Israel. Yesterday, it was reported that Israel approved export licenses for anti-drone jamming systems that could help Ukraine counter Iranian drones used by Russia. They're doing terrible damage, often aimed brutally at civilians who don't have a military consequence. During our CODEL's recent visit to Israel, my 8 colleagues and I pressed the Israeli government to take action along these lines. We stressed that supporting Ukraine against Putin is essential for the security of all democracies. The decision by the Israeli government to approve export licenses for anti-drone jamming systems is very good news. I urge Israel to do more to help our friends in Ukraine. President Zelensky has repeatedly asked for air defense systems that can counter missile barrages Putin is sending into Ukraine. I believe it's critical that Israel respond to this request favorably. I yield the floor. Note the absence of, I yield the floor.